can I have both Crowe and Soul together? I mean, I've got 2 hands. I'm proficient in dual wielding. Hello, and welcome to the remade version of The Kid at the Back Day 1. This is a Yandere romance dating sim in which you meet a strange guy named Soul who's had his eye on you for quite some time. We have done a playthrough of the original Day 1 before, however, this has since been completely rewritten with a bunch of new scenes added and many new CGs, so I hope you guys enjoy and let's get started. It was many and many a year ago, in a kingdom by the sea, that a maiden there lived whom you may know by the name of Annabelle Lee. Day 1. The Beloved, and class dismissed. By our next meeting, I need a full report on everyone's poem that they've chosen. I will not accept 1 paragraph, I need 2 whole pages filled with words. Everyone got that? The classroom broke into a series of "Yes, Professor," while some spared no time in packing their things, eager to be dismissed and disregarding the teacher altogether. Your literature teacher packs up her own things and exits the classroom. The moment your literature teacher leaves, the classroom breaks into small groups as each student gathers to meet up with their respective cliques. Some engaged in conversation, while some spend no time in exiting the classroom. A yawn escapes your lips. You turn your head and observe the clouds outside. The clouds are shaded in a dark grey. The sky's once blue colour is now turning the same lighter shade of grey. The looming threat of rain made you click your tongue in irritation. Just my luck, I didn't bother to bring an umbrella too. Standing up from your seat, you're about to grab your bag when you felt a tap on your shoulder. It's Brittany, I've missed her so much. Turning around, you came face to face with cobalt blue eyes, her blonde hair shaped like swirls with its ends dyed in pink and blue, complementing her entire ensemble even if it's just a white button-up that clearly looks too small for her. Hot pink jacket tied around her waist, and the school's black skirt. Her hand, which you assume was the same one that tapped your shoulder, hung up in the air. She seemed unsure whether to continue or not, judging by the way her eyebrows furrowed downwards while biting her glossed lower lip. She turned slightly, her head not fixed on you, but rather on whoever is behind her. You hear her whisper something under her breath before eventually composing herself and turning her focus solely to you now. Hey, you go to lunch with us, right? I mean, you should. I don't usually see you in the cafeteria often, so you must not be eating properly. How can you keep up with classes looking like that? Excuse me? You took a step back, clenching the strap of your bag as you glare at the blonde woman before you. Who was this woman? Who does she think she is? Judging from the woman's expression, she finally came to realize the words that came out of her mouth. Brittany. A familiar voice interrupted the two of you. You turn your head to where the voice was, and there stood none other than your old friend. Oh, I miss Crowe. Alright, I gotta move myself. I don't want to be in the way. Go away, Yandere. Yeah, down here. That's really insensitive of you. Imagine if someone else told you how you look. His familiar orbs are of azure blue, nearly replicating lapis lazuli. His chocolate brown hair tied loosely in a low braid. He is so hot. Oh my god, I'm so excited. There's new Crowe scenes that have been added. Sun-kissed skin enhanced his handsome features, adorned with a black long-sleeve button-up and an indigo vest to add to his clean look. He is known as Jericho Ichabod, Crowe for short, the class representative and a close friend of yours. Well, the only close friend that you have. Crowe made his way by your side. With a hand on his hip, he reprimands the blonde-haired woman next to you, and said woman just shrugs her shoulders. You place a hand on your beating heart, the close proximity between you two causing a blush to appear on your cheeks. Oh, he's so pretty. No matter how many times you get close to him, or him getting near you, you'll never get used to it. His whole aura just gives off a warm feeling in you. The butterflies in your stomach thrashing and raging, begging to be released. You can give me another warm feeling inside me later if you like. Yeah, you may have a bit of a crush on him. The woman named Brittany just rolls her eyes, seemingly used to Crowe's reprimands. Well, you're the one who insisted on me initiating talk. You could have done it more nicely, you know? Like a simple invite alone. Crowe gives you a small smile while handing out something to you. You look down to see it. It was your ID. You dropped this, by the way. Thank you, Crowe. Your last name is Winters. The ID shows my name, Yandere Winters, along with my pronouns, she, her. You stare at your own ID picture and see yourself more feminine. Use feminine terms and will be called a girl/woman. You looked at your ID picture, seeing a young woman and reading your name with your eyes. Name: Yandere Winters, pronouns she, her. Yes. Your fingers briefly brushed against his. You bit your lip and muttered a small thank you before pocketing your school ID. Crowe gives you a close-eyed smile, returning with his own thank you, then turns his attention back towards Brittany. Following up behind Brittany are 3 more people. Tallest of the 3 is a sporty-looking man, clad in a green and yellow jersey with the number 10 settled on the front. His eyes are a bright green, the color that kinda reminds you of green apples. His skin is a beautiful brown that nearly matches his curly hair, while his stubble is nestled in on his chin, indicating his maturity. Oh my god, a cheer. He's so pretty. The second tallest is a man in a purple hoodie. His eyes are sharp, slanted with long lashes adorned with teal-colored orbs underneath. His hair is straight and styled into a hime cut, save for a short strand tied with a red ribbon, and a low ponytail with the same shade of red behind him. He looks uninterested in what is going on at that very moment. And last but not least is the shortest of the three, maybe within the group as well, her skin pale, her face dotted with a few freckles here and there as rectangular-shaped frames shield away orange orbs. Her hair is short and loose like waves. She wears a black button-up under an orange vest and a black shirt matching Brittany's. Damn, pretty sure about her socializing. Hey Gio, seems like you have competition. The tall jock clad in a yellow and green sports jersey lets out a laugh, causing some students to turn to look at him. Brittany's face grows red from embarrassment. Gritting her teeth, she crossed her arms while tapping her foot on the ground. This only made the jock laugh even harder. Shut the hell up, Daryl. You're causing a scene. Also, if you were me, you would have done just as badly. That is in fact not true. I'm a lovable guy. Oh yeah? As the two argue, you turn your head towards the other tall male in a hoodie. Sensing your gaze, he looks down at you, his hands still in his hoodie jacket. A sudden chill went down your spine. He's just not talking to me. You quickly avert your gaze away from the imposing male and landing on the meek girl in orange right beside Brittany. She hasn't spoken since she arrived with the two males, but judging from how attached she is to Brittany, you're guessing she's closer with her than the rest of the group. She kinda reminds you of yourself when you were still new to the school with no one to talk to. Not until Crowe befriended you, of course. Were you as clingy to Crowe back then, as she is with Brittany now? Sorry, they're kind of a rowdy bunch, huh? I hope you're not too overwhelmed. They sure are. Look, Yinny, you're still free to not join us for lunch if you're uncomfortable. Meeting new people is overwhelming. I just want to let you know that I respect your feelings and that you matter. Oh, Crowe, you're so cute. Crowe reassures you with a worried smile on his lips. You turn back to his group. The tall jock named Daryl now bothering Gio with an arm around his shoulder. The visible irritation on Gio's face did nothing to sway Daryl's happy-go-lucky personality. Brittany leans on one of the desks with her arms crossed, striking a conversation with the bespectacled girl next to her. What's her name? I didn't seem to catch it last time. Crowe glanced at where you're pointing at. Jessie. You can call her Jess for short. She's best friends with Brittany. Kinda reminds me of you back when we first met. All shy and quiet. Only that you're cuter. Oh, Crowe, stop it. Here? Crowe pinches your cheek playfully and you groan. But your mock annoyance is betrayed by the small smile that formed on your lips. How the time flies, huh? Oh, you're so hot. That's right. You got yourself acquainted with Crowe in your sophomore year. Before you left for the city, your father emphasized the importance of having companions and establishing friendships, most especially in this college. Olympias University, the largest university in Titan City, is known for having the best facilities and the best education, when you're guaranteed to rise from the bottom to the top. Well, that's what the advertisement tells you. You try getting to know people during your first year, but to no avail. No matter how much you try and make friends, you just couldn't seem to bring yourself to talk to anyone, and to your dismay, no one seems to bother to even befriend you. Sure, you would talk with a few classmates for projects, but nothing goes beyond that, as if they're scared of you, or more like disgusted. You can never tell. The looks you received have all been mixed signals, some bad and some out of pity. That is, until Crowe came into the picture. Among everyone, Crowe was the sole person who approached you with the intention of friendship. You were wary of him at first. Why would someone want to befriend you out of nowhere? Your past experiences caused you suspicion. You've had a history with people who tried to earn your good graces because you were somehow beneficial to them. You thought Crowe would be the same case, so you ignored him. But then he kept following you, trying to strike a conversation with you every now and then. You tried to dismiss him, ignoring his presence as usual. But Crowe was determined to break down your walls and kept insisting on tagging along until it annoyed you once. Just once. That is, until it happened on the last day of your first semester in your sophomore year. You fell victim to one of the school's biggest hidden flaws. If Crowe wasn't there to stop them, you could not begin to imagine what might have happened to you. Aww! Oh my gosh! It's baby Crowe! Oh, he's so cute. Thank goodness you're unharmed. You're concerned about me. What about you? You're the one who's hurt. Thinking back, you thought he was crazy and stupid, taking blow after blow until the perpetrators got bored and left the both of you. That's the whole point, right? As long as you're not hurt, this is nothing. Like, you're crazy. You know that? And he just laughs it off, wincing due to the bruises on his face. I never got your name, crazy person. It's Jericho Ichabod. You just call me Crowe. Nice to meet you, Crowe. I'm Yinny. You brought him to the clinic that day, and you've become inseparable ever since. Right after that incident, Crowe promised to never get in fights again and continues to keep his word on it. You really owe it to him. You look back up at Crowe and he tilts his head. Something on your mind, Yinny? Nothing. I'm just happy you're my friend. He looked at you with raised eyebrows, probably surprised at how random your thoughts seem. He didn't say anything else as he let your words sink in, and his usual gentle smile appeared on his face. Crowe inched closer to you, indicating that he feels the same way. Brittany must have taken notice of the amount of time wasted in talking and arguing, as she turns to you one last time. We've talked a little too much. We'll probably not end up getting any seats if we keep this up. So, you coming with us or not? Caught up in your little daydream about the past? Brittany finally spoke up, catching your attention. You look back at Crowe, recalling his words. Don't force yourself to join if you're still uncomfortable. You then decide to... Alright, hang on. Alright, I'm gonna say let's go to the library first. I'll head to the library today. With a hand on her hip, Brittany stares at you as if waiting for you to change your mind. Seeing that your decision is set, she loosens a sigh. Brittany wordlessly turns on her heel and walks out of the classroom, the rest of her friends following behind her. Crowe, however, stayed in his exact same spot right next to you. Noticing this, Gio, the one in the hoodie, stops. Oh, you're right there. Crowe pauses shortly to sneak a look at you before walking towards Gio, his movements slow and hesitant to leave your side. Although Crowe did not give you a farewell glance before reaching his friend, it was Gio who glared at you over his shoulder. His gaze was intimidating and intense. It reminded you of the way predators look at their prey. Why is he mean to me? You felt your heart stop beating for a moment. Confused by his apparent stillness, Crowe was about to question his blue-haired companion, but Gio waved his hand dismissively. Before Crowe could notice anything, Gio breaks his gaze away from yours and ushers his friend out of the classroom. You let out the breath you didn't know you were even holding. What was that about? He gave me nothing but short glances and glares since I met him. Maybe I'm not suited to be part of their group. You shake away the negative thoughts attempting to plague your mind. Returning to your original plan, you packed up your things and proceeded to head out. Next up, the library. Oh, the backgrounds are different now. Several were headed to the same direction that you were walking. With the library door within your reach, a smile etched on your face. You open the doors, immediately greeted by the familiar scent of coffee and library books. You've always been awed by your university's fancy facilities. In fact, the library surprisingly operates as a small cafe, serving coffee to the students who need it early in the morning until the afternoon. It's a huge hit among everyone, and you understand why. Caffeine is the fuel to a college student's weary soul. The aroma of coffee somehow lightened your mood. Anticipating a short moment of peace within the library, you made your way towards your usual seat by the large window near the cafe section. Your mood dropped when you spotted an unfamiliar face occupying the chair you've come to favor. You groan. It's great. What should I do about this? Ask them to move away from your seat. Let's do that. Alright, ask them to move away from your seat. No, you refuse to accept this. That is your seat. Heck, you even made sure that people know it's yours by scribbling your name on the wooden chair. Okay, the last part is a lie. You probably get in trouble if you ever vandalize school property. But you've been in the library more than you can count, and you're pretty sure that even the regular students who come here know that it's your spot. Swallowing your pride, you slowly approach the seated guy. Oh my god, I missed you. I've missed you so much. You're so cute. Once he made it to his side, however, he didn't bother to acknowledge your presence, seemingly more focused on the book that he's reading. You faked a cough. That seemed to catch his attention. He gives you a small glance right after, his nose still buried in his book. Yet this seems to catch his attention. You're in my seat. Can I have it back? He stares at you for a moment, then closes his book, swerving his body to face you, while placing an elbow on the mahogany table. His reddish orbs stare right back into your own. The confidence you had 5 minutes ago vanishing in thin air as his gaze sends shivers down your spine. The dark circles under his eyes adding to his intimidating look. He raises a brow before looking around. Under the table, on the seat, even under his book before turning back to you. I don't see your name anywhere. You can feel the veins on your forehead pop out. Oh, so he wants to be a smartass, huh? Should've put my name like I planned for jerks like him. You crossed your arms, not hiding your visible irritation, earning a low chuckle from the male who is seemingly amused at your frustration. So cute. Oh, you're so cute. Oh my gosh. God, I missed his blush. Say, if you really want your seat back, you need to convince me to move first. Tell you what, how about a cup of coffee? If you could give me a cup, maybe I'll consider moving. You bit your inner cheek. Now he wants you to be his little servant. Who does this guy think he is? Turning your head to the nearby coffee stand right next to the exit, you observe some students enjoying their own coffee while reading or studying. Maybe you can grab his coffee and get this over with. Force him to give up his seat. I always feel kind of mean about this. Do I look like your little maid? Just move and give me back my seat. You angrily voiced out, growing more and more impatient with the mail in front of you. But it technically isn't my seat. Like, anybody can sit there. However, he seems unbothered by your threat. His eyes half-lit in boredom before going back to reading his novel. Alright, this guy's getting on my nerves. If he doesn't want to leave, then I'm not letting him then. You huffed in annoyance and moved around behind him. He did not utter a single word and kept his nose on his light novel, even though he couldn't deny the fact that he's a bit curious about what you're planning. What shocked him next was you pulling on the chair, causing him to gasp as he wobbled on his seat. Steadying himself, he was prepared to reprimand you for your actions, but you cut him off once more. What do you... By settling yourself on top of his lap. Hey, yo, I missed this scene. So, is that a second book, or are you just happy to see me? He swore to whatever god looking down on him right now to take him. Maybe he can take me. The book in his hands threatening to slip off as all of his senses shut down, save for his eyes that remain focused on your back. His heartbeat quickens, cursing under his breath while you continue on with your work as if he isn't there. And you, oh, sweet little you, slightly turn your head, giving a quick glance, your lips turned upward as if mocking him, teasing him. It's driving him insane. You, however, went along with your task, ignoring him as if he weren't there, save for your ass literally on top of his lap. He looks around, noticing a few glances from passing students, some rolling their eyes and some moving away, finding a different seat. The guy's face went red. The surrounding students were definitely interpreting this the wrong way. He returns his gaze back to you. He remains unbothered, sitting on his lap and seemingly not noticing the weird glances. He eventually relaxes, though still a bit hesitant on placing his arm next to yours. With a free hand, he picks up the book he had and reads through the contents once more. Is this just how we spent the afternoon? A minute or two passed and you felt him sigh before closing his book. He seems to be having a hard time concentrating on his novel. Oh, I wonder why. Maybe there's another hard time further down south. Not your problem though. Seldom we find, says Solomon Don. He reads out, making you arch an eyebrow, whilst trying to ignore him as you remain focused on your papers. Half an idea in the profoundest sonnet. Through all the flimsy things we see at once. Is he reading through your papers? More specifically, the poem that you chose? As easily as through a Naples bonnet. An Enigma by Edgar Allan Poe, huh? Not a bad choice. Now this got your attention. In all honesty, you just grabbed whatever book that your hands thought felt heavy and went along with it. You were lucky enough it was a singular book filled with stories and poems about this author named Edgar Allan Poe. You went through the book's tables of contents and the title caught your attention. Maybe it'll have the same effect to your ignorant teacher as it did to you. But it seems like this talking chair of yours is taking an interest in it fast. Not bearing to ignore him any longer, you speak up. It's the first thing I could find that looked interesting. Nothing much, as long as I've got something to write for my report. That's fair, but did you know this poem is also a puzzle? This piqued your curiosity. A puzzle? He nods. Then with a finger, he points at the first line of the poem and then on the second. Yes, a puzzle. This is one of the few works of his that I find quite charming. Looking at where his fingers is pointing, you try to look for the puzzle he's speaking of, but despite reading through the sonnet carefully, you couldn't seem to find the puzzle he was talking about. He must be screwing with you. Trying one last time, you scanned the words. What's the answer? I don't know. Let me look at the log. I couldn't see it. Is it some sort of riddle? About what? Would you like a hint? That would help me. Look at the first letter of the first line, and then the second letter of the second line, and so on. He removes his fingers from the paper and now observes your facial features. Your brows furrowed in full concentration. A finger under your chin as you look at the letters based on the hint he gave you. What's the answer? Well, I didn't get it. I looked it up. Sarah Anna Lewis. You feel a pat on your head, making you tilt your neck to his direction as you try to face him. There on his face is a calm smile directed at you as if saying, good job, you're a smart cookie. Aw, a smug smile made its way to your face, chin up and eyes closed. But of course, you look back on your paper, on the poem specifically, a newfound sense of respect for the sonnet after knowing its hidden meaning. This just adds more to the content in your paper and maybe it'll help you get an even higher grade for it. Maybe hitting the books isn't so bad. You lean back on the chair, nearly forgetting you're literally on someone's lap, causing you to accidentally press your back to his chest, making him jerk on the seat. This surprises you. Look at him blush, he's so cute. You yelp and quickly stood up from the chair, turning to apologize to him. His previous relaxed posture is now back to being stiff as a board. His face is bright red, resembling a tomato. Leaning forward on his seat, his chin rests on top of the table with a flustered expression on his face. I'm so sorry, I forgot I was sitting on you. Oh my god, I was sitting on him. Yes, you were. The sudden realization hits you and you quickly want to bury yourself in the ground. The student before you remains silent, his face still burning red and his eyes wide as plates. He shakily grabs his book and quickly stands up from the seat. Without sparing you any time nor breath, he walks out towards the exit with a bit of a limp on his step. Is it cause he's stiff? Is it cause his heavenly pillar is standing straight up to the sky? You feel like ripping your hair out. You did all that embarrassing crap for some guy who refuses to give you your seat in the library. You could have gone to a different spot without having to do all of that. There was no point in dwelling on it any more than necessary. Returning to your papers, you stack them up along with the books that you borrowed. Glancing at the poem one last time, you couldn't help the smile that made its way to your lips. At least he gave me some useful insight on my paper. I should thank him once I see him. And I never even got to know his name. You're so bad at interacting with people. Once you reached the hallway, the stranger from the library was already gone. But what surprised you was Crowe's presence, followed by the same group of friends you saw this morning. Not only that, Brittany's uniform is covered with what seems to be a mix of ketchup, mustard, and a variety of oils, while Jess tries her best to wipe them off of her. What the hell happened in the cafeteria? Yeah, I was about to check up on you. How you feeling? I'm doing fine. Although, you turn your gaze to the blonde behind him. Crowe follows your line of sight and scratches his cheek. A drop of sweat rolls down his neck. Sensing your curiosity, he turns to Brittany. The blonde woman just waves him off, refusing to meet his eyes. Taking that as a sign to proceed, Crowe explains. Things went a bit hectic in the cafeteria. A food fight broke out. And it was the best food fight ever! You should have seen the face of that red-headed bitch when he slammed ketchup on her uniform! Daryl jumped in the conversation, startling you and Crowe at his sudden appearance. An annoyed expression made its way onto Crowe's face. You nearly got all of us in trouble, Daryl. I'm just glad we got ourselves out of there before things got worse. Yeah, knight in shining armor, Mr. Ichabod, always to the rescue. Really making use of your title as a school rep, huh? Daryl gives Crowe a little nudge, and the said man just rolled his eyes. But you gotta admit, the look on Pinkie Pie was freaking hilarious. Right, Britt? You and Daryl turned to Brittany. Some of the sauces on her uniform gone, leaving nothing but a stain on it. A small smirk formed on her lips as she recalled the earlier events. Well, I can't deny that it felt good having a fight back. Daryl gives a teethy smile at the blonde woman, which she returns with her own snarky smile. Crowe only rolls his eyes, shaking his head at the two troublemakers. Contrary to his visible disagreement, he couldn't help but notice a small smile on his face, as if he's proud of them despite the trouble they've caused. As you observe them, you notice something amiss. Or rather, someone amiss. Jess seems to catch on to your confusion at their lack of numbers and steps up to explain. If you're looking for Gio, he said he was going somewhere else. I'm not quite sure where though. I see. Not that I was actively trying to look for the guy. He actually scares me. You recall the look he gave you right before you left for the library? Just remembering it sends a shiver down your spine. You consider tugging on Crowe's sleeve, wanting to seek for answers about his other friend. But seeing how he's going along with the group with a genuine smile on his face, you bit your lower lip. You couldn't bear to ruin the mood. I should head to my next class, not sparing them any more of your time. You swiftly turn on your heel and rush out of the scene. She's quite a runner, isn't she? Daryl perks up behind Crowe's solemn face, while the two stare at your departing form. Crowe sighs and looks down at the floor. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. The taller jock says nothing, but gives his friend a look of pity, rubbing Crowe's back as he tries to think of something, anything, to reassure the man next to him. I like how in the rewrite, Crowe's crush on us is a lot more apparent. Daryl's eyes suddenly lit up, a smile appearing on his lips. Taking advantage of Crowe's vulnerability, he swiftly snatched his friend's phone from his pockets, the latter not even batting an eye at his phone that was taken. Instead, he questions him. The jock simply messes with his phone, his tongue sticking out from the corner of his lips. What are you doing? Trying to fix your love life. You're welcome, by the way. What are you even talking about? Crowe's eyes grew wide at the block of text Daryl showed him. Give that back. Daryl simply laughs at Crowe's failed attempts at getting his phone back. Daryl waves Crowe's blue mobile phone in the air. You got no choice, Crowe. I've already sent the message. Daryl, you sneaky bastard. You'll call me your favorite wingman after this. The jock winks. A few feet away from the men, Brittany and Jess simply observe the two males. They turn to each other and shrug, wondering what Daryl would have done to get Crowe flustered like that. I think this is Sol, doing something in the, bathroom stall. I can't show you this, so we are skipping ahead. Barely making it to your next class, you slid the classroom door open, earning you a few looks from the students inside the room. Turning to the podium, you exhale a breath you didn't realize you were still holding. When you realize that your teacher was still absent, in your composure you scan the room, A few easels and shelves filled with brushes and bottles stained with acrylic paint guaranteed that you made it to the right class. However, you notice something, or rather, someone familiar. The very same tuft of black hair with green highlights sat at the back. Instead of his red novel that you come to associate with him, he is now scribbling with a sketch pad. He didn't seem to notice your arrival. How come you never seen him in class before? Is it because he's seated all the way at the back of the classroom? If that's the case, he must have been really quiet, and you probably never got the time to notice him come and go. How odd, you thought. You make your way to your seat, not breaking your gaze at the tall, dark male. Once you reach your seat, you couldn't help your growing curiosity at whatever he was doing with a sketch pad. Coincidentally, the desk right in front of him was unoccupied. Maybe you could sit there instead. Settling with that idea, you move to the desk in front of you and place your things down. He remains unaware of your presence. You sit on the chair, facing the opposite direction as you casually place your arms on the backrest. Oh, he's so cute. Oh my gosh, I love the new art. You observe the way he draws with his pencil. Each stroke he creates moves with so much elegance that you thought he was dancing with it. The face of a person dressed in peasant clothes. They seem to be dancing while a being larger in size is right next to them. You lean in closer, attempting to see what he's trying to draw, but was left startled when the book suddenly slammed closed, causing you to jerk back. You tilt your head up and meet with the eyes of the very same wide reddish eyes of the boy back at the library. You give him an awkward smile and the peace sign. He keeps staring at you. Hey there, sorry for what happened back at the library. You're my classmate. That's a surprise. I hope we'll get along. Okay, being caught in the act wasn't part of your plan. Look at the cute little blush on his face. Quickly swerving around, you are now properly facing forward, ignoring the burning stare of the male behind your head. You make your way to your seat. Once settled down, you groan, placing your elbows on the desk and resting your chin on top of your hands, waiting patiently for your professor's arrival. Hearing the classroom door open, your art professor makes his way inside, his large round belly standing out, round spectacles sitting on top of his nose, and a stereotypical brown beret on his head. He greets the class before starting his lecture. Art exhibition project featuring various eras of art was part of our thesis. This time, we're tasked with expressionism. Remember, this is all part of your paper and not to mention making a name for yourself in the course. More like taking the credit of a student's work and using it to advertise your shitty school. You scoffed at the thought. Hope you all got a partner already by this time. For this term, I'm tasking you all to create 3 works based on the exhibit's theme. This is where you want to throw your desk out the window. How could you forget? You weren't present during the previous meeting and you knew absolutely no one in the specific class. Why were you taking art again? Alright, your father was an artist as he was a farmer. It was all for him. Maybe you can make a name for yourself with your works if ever your life as a gardener wouldn't turn out the way it should. All part of plan B, and if that fails, I got plans C and D. And if that fails, we have more plans all the way to plan Z like plankton? I have yet to make up the rest. Or I guess I'll die. You shake away your silly thoughts. The problem is now at hand. You do not have a partner to work with. Now I want all of you to go to your chosen partner for this project so I can start explaining your tasks. Eventually you're forced out of your seat, since your seatmate's partner will be occupying it for the class. You curse at yourself. You can only hope you're not the only student who didn't get their own partner for their class. On looking around, it seems like everyone's calm and collected. Were you the only one panicking here? Unlike the rest of the class scurrying around to meet their partner, you were the only fool who was still standing still. I mean, this was kind of me in school though. Nobody really ever wanted to partner with me. And nobody ever picked me for the teams as well because I wasn't very athletic. So I was like a pity pick. Note on the only one standing, because from the corner of the classroom, there's a single student not bothering to stand up from their seat. Their seatmate had left to go pair with someone else, leaving a vacant spot. Is he not going to bother with his partner? Unless... Hey there! He looks up from his desk and looks at your approaching form before you're eventually standing next to him. It's you. Seems like you're a bit lost there. Do you have a partner? No. Well, just your luck then. Me neither. So, do you want to be partners? Sure, why not? He looks so happy when he smiles. I'm in love. He took the vacant seat right beside him, his book now tucked away, and on the desk is now a pen and a piece of paper, seemingly ready to take notes. Hey, I never got to know your name. It's not quite important. Well, I should at least know what to call you instead of Green Street Guy. He raised a brow at your silly nickname you gave him before slightly shaking his head. Sullivan Brugmancia, but just call me Sol. Sol. Sol means sun or brightness, right? Sol nods, rubbing the back of his head. You can say that. My mother gave me that name. It's a lovely name. Thanks. Well, I'm Yandere Winters. Nice to finally know your name, Sol. Sol nods with a smile forming on his lips, then turning his attention back to the professor. 3 artworks to showcase. No, it has to be some form of expressionism. Mediums will be strictly traditional. Your professor then proceeds to give the other pointers for your project before leaving you and the rest of the class for the day. Everyone in the classroom proceeds to talk with their partners, already brainstorming ideas on what they're going to showcase and hopefully to get a high grade. He turned to Sol as he took out his own charcoal pencil and his sketch pad for the class. You got any plans for our first display, Sol? Expressionism is about conveying one's feelings, right? The easiest for now is a portrait. Let's use your face as an example. No, not my face. It's not a nice face. My face. He lets out a low chuckle. There, you're making a cute expression right now. That can be considered expressionism. He seems like he already has an idea on what to do. And judging from that half-filled sketchbook of his, he's quite familiar with the concept of art. Me, however, let me see. I'm pretty great in art. Sol gives a small smile. I'd love to see some of your works then. So, would you like me to draw my portrait first? Sure. Wait, let me get my things. You took out your sketch pad and a charcoal pencil as Sol relaxes on his seat. Would you like me to pose or do whatever you feel the most comfortable in? Alright. Yay! So cute. Your eyes scan his face. The more you look at him, the more you notice some of his features. His cheekbones, his lips with 2 piercings, his thick eyebrows, the way his hair settles down on his shoulders, and his reddish-orange eyes. He's actually quite handsome. For a moment, you just stared at his eyes. He noticed and stared back, his pupils dilating before he realized what he was doing. Aww. Heat rises to his cheeks, and he quickly averts his head away. Hey, eyes on me. Sorry, I'm not used to being stared at for that long. Relax, it's just me. Plus, you stare at my boring face after I'm done with your portrait. Your face isn't boring. I actually think you look beautiful, he says without even thinking twice. His eyes met yours, half-lidded, and his pupils are wide. Now it's your turn to turn red. You hid your face behind your sketchpad and whacked him with your charcoal pencil, saying stupid stuff and stay still. Sol just chuckled and stilled his movements, a hand on his chest and a smile on his face. Before you knew it, the bell rang and class was over. You weren't done with your sketch, however. The conversation kept repeating in your mind and made it hard for you to concentrate. And like hell you're gonna show it to Sol. Come on, just a peek. It's not done yet. Ooh. You chuckled at the sketchpad in your bag before Sol could grab a hold of it. You got up from your seat and headed out of the classroom. Sol coming close behind with his own bag as he leaves with the rest of the class. Do you have a phone? We should exchange numbers and update each other so we can do the next 2 tasks. Sol then takes out his own phone and asks for your number. You recite it out loud as he inputs it into his phone. Let me try to send you a message. You nodded and looked at your phone screen and saw a new notification from an unknown number. This must be Sol's. Sup? You type so differently from how you look. From the corner of your eye, you see Sol's eyebrow raised at your text. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing. You chuckled and he rolls his eyes. Your stare lingers on Sol's face. A smile is embedded on his handsome features while he looks back at the block of text on his phone. Meeting Sol. Back then, you struggled to form friends throughout college that you were convinced you'd be graduating without making a single connection, which you would undoubtedly disappoint your father, and you were ready for it. You thought to yourself, these are odd people, eccentrics at most. All misunderstood people, all human, all the same. A sudden wave of determination washes over you. With a hand on your chest, you stare into Sol's orbs, making him tilt his head slightly. Sol, I want to be friends with you. I can sense that people tend to misunderstand you and your overall personality. Sol is quiet, but his gaze remains on you with a lingering curiosity. But let me be different. I want to get to know you. I want to understand you, Sol, if you let me. He blinks once, then twice, and then a chuckle. He puts a large hand on top of your head and ruffles your hair. Alright then, let's mark today as the start of our wonderful friendship, Yandere. You playfully push his hand off your head and nudge him on the shoulder. He lets out a small laugh at your poor attempt. And to you as well, Sullivan Brugmansia. Just Sol is fine, Yandere. Well, I need to get going. I'll see you tomorrow? Oh, of course. See you tomorrow, Yandere. Giving Sol a wave of goodbye, you make your way towards the school's exit. My darling, my sweet darling Yandere. See you later, pumpkin. Oh my god, he's so cute. He's so cute. He's so sweet. As you walk through the hallway, your eyes caught on something on the nearby bulletin board. A poster was plastered on the large wall. The Hallows Ball. Come enjoy the festive spirit of Hallows Eve. A Halloween party, huh? Seems promising. A sudden, small vibration came from your pocket. You took out your phone, expecting another message from Sol. But it was from Crowe. Your heart leapt from your chest, recalling the events that happened earlier this afternoon. Can you meet me after class? I'll be at the front gate. You didn't send a reply. Turning off your phone, you quickly made haste to the exit. You approached the school's gate, keeping an eye out for your friend. Sure enough, there stood Crowe in all his glory, posture straight with his arms held behind his back, his bag neatly placed on the floor and his foot tapping on the concrete floor nervously. You yourself were growing nervous with each step you took as you drew closer and closer to him. When you reached his side and made your presence known with a small greeting, you noticed the way Crowe's eyebrows raised in mild surprise, as if not expecting you to actually show up before him. He cleared his throat before composing himself properly, his body now facing in your direction. You wanted to see me? Yes, Lifting his bag from the floor, he slings a strap over his shoulder and offers his hand for you to take. I'd like to take you somewhere. It's a bit near the park. I'll lead if you let me. Take his hand or take his arm? Alright, let's save. Alright, let's take his hand. You took his hand. In return, Crowe wraps his fingers around yours. His nervous smile melts into a genuine and happier one before he leads the both of you away from the school's gate and to the streets. By the time you and Crowe make it to the park, it was already sundown and stars slowly started to paint the sky. Is this the place you were trying to lead me to, Crowe? Not quite yet. Come here. You follow him through the thicket of thick bushes. Surprised to see stony stairs. Though a bit run down, it still seems sturdy to step foot on. Looking up, you see it leads somewhere above. You and Crowe make your way up the stony stairs, some red and orange leaves coloring the steps as you and him avoid a few puddles from the rain this morning. We're here. Come, it's a sight to behold. Taking one last step, you see Crowe admiring whatever was beyond him, his smile bright as his eyes twinkle like the stars above. Your eyes went wide in awe upon seeing the scenery before you, replicating the one Crowe has on his face. Not once did you take into consideration the idea of sightseeing within the city. Everything felt unfamiliar, intimidating even. You couldn't blame yourself for feeling so distressed about the idea of traveling, especially since you had no one else within the city to guide you. But gazing out at the sea of lights that stretched out before you made you realize that you may have been missing much of what the city has to offer. Looking further ahead, you take notice of a tall tower decorated with bright neon pink lights. A little bit to the right is a movie theater next to a mall, the rows of other buildings with multicolored lights that seemed endless. The more you scan the area, the more you see unfamiliar places that you didn't know existed. Your moment of silence while admiring the city view was interrupted by the sound of rustling grass. You turn around, finding the source of the sound. Crowe has made himself comfortable, lying on the ground under an old tree. You see his backpack leaning up against the trunk. Aww, Crowe. You turn your back from the city and walk to where Crowe lay, deciding to keep him company. His gaze on the starry sky shifts to you as you sit down beside him and a hopeful smile grows on his face. Judging from your face all lighting up, you like this place, huh? Care to join me? Accepting his invitation, you give Crowe a slight nod that brought joy to his eyes. You stretch a bit and lay on your back right next to him, your fingers barely touching. You and Crowe look at the night sky. You observe how the stars twinkle as if the rain from this morning never happened. How did you manage to find this place? You tilt your head to look at him, and he gives you a close-eyed chuckle before his twinkling gaze meets yours. I take it that you never heard of Lily's Myth, have you, Yinny? Lily's Myth? Crowe points up at the old tree that stood above you, then returns his gaze to the stars. They say that this is the tree that humans came in contact with, and it was blessed by the gods that guard this land. This is the very same tree used to bear multiple fruits. They say that they never rot, and are free for anyone to take. Or so what the popular interpretation says anyway. There are other versions of the myth. Man, he's so pretty up close. I'm so distracted. Crowe shrugs his shoulders, moving his gaze from the sky back to the tree. He stares at it as if trying to decipher something just by the mere look of it. There are other versions, yes. Some say the fruits are actually poisonous. Others say it's only meant for the gods and no human must take from it lest they be cursed. That sounds quite gruesome. It's no wonder that they would rather use the lighter version of the myth. Crowe lets out a low chuckle at your statement, nodding a bit as if agreeing with you. I guess that might be one of the reasons. Hey, Yinny. He pauses before speaking again, and you perk an eyebrow at him. Yeah? This seems like a silly question. No? Lay it on me. And by it, let's just say I meant him and his peanuts. Anyways, tell me what it is. Do you believe in gods? This question caught you by surprise. You never thought of Crowe as the religious type. More so be interested in gods, or maybe he's just curious by the idea of them. This may be the best moment to know for sure. I do. They're the very beings that blessed our lands and soil. Back in my hometown, we would go worship in our village's patron goddess's church and pray for a good harvest. You recall your visits to the village temple with your father. Being regulars, you visited enough to the point where you became friends with some of those who resided within the church. Each time you dropped by to worship, you and your father would offer your healthiest crops to thank your patron. You haven't gone to church in a while, probably because the city doesn't have a church for your patron deity. Your gods had more followers near your village all the way to the south. Crowe gives you a nod of understanding. How about you? Do you believe in God? You turn to Crowe, repeating the same question he asked you earlier. He scans your face, your eyes, your nose, and then your lips. His lingering gaze made you shrink back, your heart fluttering slightly. Crowe seems to realize something to himself as he returns his attention to the stars above, sighing. I don't. This surprises you and Crowe laughs at your visible shock and confusion. What? You didn't think I'd be a non-believer? If I have to be honest, no. Why so? You kinda dress like a priest. He kinda does. Crowe's azure eyes grew wide as he broke out into one of the loudest laughs you've ever heard from him. He laughed so hard that he had to clench his stomach and wipe at the tear-stained corners of his eyes. He was still chuckling when he unbuttons the first 2 studs of his black polo, revealing more of his collarbone to you. Hey, yo, whoa! I've never seen this much of Crowe before. I feel like a person in the Victorian times seeing someone's ankle for the first time. Jesus. You quickly avert your eyes, finding the tree's leaves to be very interesting the moment you feel a familiar heat rush to your cheeks. How's that? Less formal? Maybe not quite enough. You should just take it off. For heck's sake, Ichabod. It feels like I'm seeing It's the same joke! It feels like I'm seeing a Victorian woman's ankles for the first time. Crowe grins at your reaction. It took the both of you a few more seconds of going back and forth with his teasing and you reprimanding him before you finally calmed down. The next few moments were spent with you pointing at the stars, and Crowe teaching you the constellations with a gentle whisper-like voice. You both fell silent, basking in the peace of the night. As the silence prolonged, Crowe fell deep in thought. About today, Yandere, and about the guys. So we're moving to this conversation next, huh? I've got to be honest. Daryl put me up on this little hangout while I was feeling down in the dumps. I think I do have to thank him for forcing me, and actually gave me the courage to talk to you after class. He lets out a breath he didn't know he was holding, refusing to meet your eyes. I just don't know if I upsetted you by suddenly dragging you into this group. I probably should have told you about them a long time ago, huh? I'm sorry, Yandere. You bit your lip. You suspected that you might have upset Crowe by making him think you didn't like the group's presence at all, and that he's forcing you to bend to his will. One thing to know about Crowe is that he's never the type to demand, to control, and to be a king, to be a tyrant. You didn't do anything wrong, Crowe. In fact, I should be the one to apologize. Oh? There's a point scale. I didn't even realize this. We're still as 3 at the moment, and I'm -1 with Crowe. You speak up without thinking. Crowe turns his head to look at you, his gaze swelling with confusion at your apology. I'm sorry for making you feel bad. I didn't mean to be upset. You swallow a lump in your throat, trying your best to hold the tears that were threatening to spill. I just thought that you'd forget about me after. They're amazing people. Brittany's pretty. Daryl's the fun guy. Gia's so cool and Jess is loyal. They're a great group. And most importantly, you're amazing, Crowe. You're all amazing. But not me. I'm just not sure if I could ever be a part of the group. You're always hidden in the shadows. No matter how much you tried to fit in, you're never to be considered. People treated you like someone to toss away, someone to use. You are worth nothing but an extra. Whoa, no! That's what she always tells you. You couldn't hold it back anymore. A sob escapes your lips, your vision slowly blurring as you felt wet droplets of tears finally sliding down your cheeks from your eyes. For a moment, you saw panic in Crowe's expression, seemingly not expecting you to burst into tears. He reaches out to hold your hand, and suddenly, you feel a pair of arms circling around you as he pulls you closer to him, letting you sob on his shoulder. He says nothing, or rubbing a hand across your back, allowing you to cry, not caring about his clothes getting wet from your tears. Once you calm down, Crowe rests his hand on your back, not letting you out of his embrace. You're amazing, Yandere. I'm sorry I never get to tell you. No matter how many times I thought of it, I just couldn't seem to find the words. But you're amazing in your own way. You may not know it, but you're beautiful. You're funny. You're quite a phenomena. You can feel vibrations coming from his chest from the chuckle he emits. You're the funniest person I know. All I'm saying, Yandere, is that you're amazing. You have no idea how many tears you shed tonight. Sometimes you think it's silly and childish to cry over what was probably a trivial matter to some, but the urge to sob returned after hearing those words from him. Do you want me to call you the amazing Spider-Man just to prove that you're amazing? That made you giggle a bit as you wipe your tear-stained cheeks. With whatever strength you could muster, you slowly pull away and lifted yourself up. Aww! Wait, I'm on top of him? Hey, yo! You sit yourself up, hovering over Crowe, and there you see the very same man that made you cry by literally doing nothing. His braid came loose, and you didn't know when. His hair pulled around his head. Crowe stares up at you with serene eyes, remaining silent as a gentle smile plastered on his face. There's nothing but the moon, illuminating his tender features. Yet to your vision, he seemed to glow. He's absolutely beautiful. How you wish you could blame everything on him. If you could, you'd tell him that he's the reason for all the unnecessary feelings swelling in your chest. You tell him exactly how good and bad it all feels. A heart aches, the butterflies fluttering about in your stomach. You want to blame him, but you can't. Kiss him! You have no idea where you got the guts to do the thing you did next. But the feeling of his lips pressed onto yours made the butterflies rattle in your stomach, threatening to burst out of their cage. Your heart beats fast like you just ran a marathon as you felt the heat rush to your cheeks. Crowe freezes against you, and for a moment there, you thought you just made a huge mistake. You're prepared to pull away and apologize, but he makes a move you did not expect. A gentle grip that Crowe had on your back slithers its way to the back of your head. Fingers intertwine with your hair as he presses you closer to him, returning your kiss with a fervent sense of desperation. Aww, look at us, we're smooching. His other hand holds your waist in a tight embrace, not wanting to let you go. Out of your own surprise, you break the kiss by pulling away slightly. Crowe chases after you, leaning in close to capture your lips in a deeper and more passionate manner than before. Whoa! You feel like putty in his embrace as he cups your cheek with one hand, his lips needily asking for more access to yours. In response, you shut your eyes tight, and your arms come up to wrap around his shoulders, granting his desire by tilting your head against his. Both of you losing all sense of the world as you fell deep into the sensation of your lips against each other. He eventually pulls away, a string of saliva connecting your lips to his own. His breasts are heavy, matching yours, and you beheld his red face and hair messier than before. He tucks away a strand of hair behind your ear before rubbing your cheek with his thumb. Crowe scans your disheveled figure above him. You can see the way his eyes dilute the longer he keeps the gaze on your face. I knew we were going stargazing tonight, but I didn't expect the brightest star to be just in front of me. Aw, stop it. You're so cute. He giggled at his cheesy pickup line. Look at the hearts in his eyes. God, I like you, Yinny. I liked you the first time I laid my eyes on you. Oh my god, what do I do? Can I have both Crowe and Soul together? I mean, I've got two hands. I'm proficient in dual wielding. I like playing rogue and I like using two daggers. I'm sure I could, like, you know. I couldn't tell because I was scared that I might lose whatever we have at the moment, that I would lose you. I couldn't bear to live a life without you. Bro, I like you too. I've liked you ever since too. You chuckle at the silly thoughts you recall. The way you've been doubting your feelings, his feelings. His eyes grow wide, jaw falling slack as he tries to comprehend the words that came out of your lips. He blinks once, twice, before a smile as bright as the stars appears on his face. Is this a dream? I hope not. If I'm in a dream, please tell the sleeping me to never wake up. I want to live in this dream forever. Will this convince you it's not a dream? You lean closer to his face and place a peck on his cheek. Maybe, but I think this would definitely convince me. Captures your lips swiftly, distracting you when he moves in to bury his face in the crook of your neck to nibble at the soft flesh, and you gasp. Now, people will know you're mine. Whoa! Whoa, hang on! What if Soul sees? Hey now! Crowe laughs out heartily at your reaction, and you simply roll your eyes. You couldn't stay mad at him. He dusts off the grass that sticks to his shirt, before giving you a once-over and gently swatting away the leaves on your hair and clothes. He looks back at you, and takes your hand silently. It's time to go. It's time to leave this magical place. You look at the stars and how brightly they shone. You gave the sky one last glance before turning away, hand clasped tightly around Crowe's as you let him lead you home. An idea pops inside Crowe's head, and a sly smirk makes its way to his face. He suddenly pulls your elbow, earning a small yelp from you. Ayo! You're about to ask what was wrong, but your words fall short as you feel yourself being lifted from the ground. Oh, okay, so this is the spicy scene. I'm not actually allowed to show you guys this, so we're gonna skip ahead. What are you trying to say? Oh my! Your legs finally give up on you as you slid against the trunk, threatening to slump to the ground. Let's go back home, alright? Oh my god! Oh wow, didn't realize Crowe had it in him. Didn't realize we could do that either. Oh, man. Kind of blushing here. Crowe walks you to your apartment, noting that he kept you out late at night. You bid Crowe goodbye after he safely sees you inside, and he gives you a wave before turning on his heel and making his way down the stairs. You close your apartment door and lean on it, heaving a puff of air. You recall the conversation you had with Crowe while you walked with him on the street leading to your home. I'm gonna give the guys a chance. I think I judged them too quickly, so I want to do better. I want to get to know them better. If you trust them, then I trust them too. What's this now? Yay! Wait, we're on 9 points of affection? Whoa! Crowe's expression was of surprise at your declaration, as your determined face reflected in his orbs. Crowe chuckles at your enthusiasm, giving you a friendly pat on the head. I'm glad you're giving them a chance, Yinny. I'm sure they'll feel the same. You engage in other conversations with Crowe during your walk, the topics not really being of any importance as you've forgotten them by now, save for his gentle voice and the occasional fond glances that he stole at you. Time with Crowe seemed to pass by so quickly. You arrive at your apartment complex before you knew it. You make your way to the living room and you throw your school bag to a random corner, immediately plopping down on your sofa as you turn on the small television. Nothing interesting is going on, save for some food commercials and movie trailers. That pizza looks so good. Maybe I should order something. Reach into your pocket and take out your phone. You're about to dial the numbers on the TV when a new notification bubble popped up on your notification bar. It's from a group chat you've never seen before. After scrutinizing it, you realize it was Crowe who added you in. It was a group chat with the rest of his friends. You open it. Anyone want to go to the Halloween party this Friday? It's gonna be awesome. Aren't we all a bit too old for costume parties? Is it required? You two are no fun at all. I won't go if it's not a school requirement, much less a waste of my time. Is it? No, it isn't. But it'll be a great and fun experience for all of us. I mean, we should loosen up a bit, you know? I agree with Crowe. Count me in. Pass. I've got more important things to do than that party. Now, if you excuse me, I will be doing my leftover task for tonight. Gio has gone offline. Sheesh, stick in the mud as usual. How about you, Yinny? Me? You join? It'll be fun. You're honestly surprised they somehow remembered you. Checking your calendar through your phone, you didn't seem to have any plans in the near future, or plans at all. You'd like to just spend your time in your apartment alone. I mean, sure, it's great to hear. Crowe seems happy about it, and you giggle. This also reminds you of something. Or rather, someone. Opening another chat, you tapped in Sol's newly added contact and sent him a message by sending the image of the same poster Daryl sent. A Halloween party, hosted by the school. Yeah, I'm not quite into parties. Oh well, that's alright. Just asking, that's all. Sol's typing. Wait, if you're coming, then I'm coming as well. Really? Really? Do you plan on dressing up? I don't know. Do you? I mean, it's a costume party, so why not? I'll try and think of something then. You swear you can feel the smile behind those words. With a quick word of goodbye, you set your phone down when you hear your doorbell. That must be the food delivery. Afterwards, you ate your dinner and prepared yourself for bed. You thought about the events that happened today. Meeting the group, meeting Sol, and most especially, your little hangout with Crowe. Each and every moment is a special occasion on its own. Letting out a big yawn as you stretch your body. You turn to your laundry slowly piling up and scratch your head. We'll probably do laundry tomorrow. But for now, you plop yourself on the soft cushions of your bed, getting into a comfortable position and slowly dozing off as you close your eyes, embracing sleep as the night goes. And once again, we are gonna have to skip this not safe for work scene where Sol fandangles his schmeat. Sorry. And this maiden, she lived with no other thought than to love and be loved by me, the one who loves. I was a child, she was a child, in this kingdom by the sea. Day 2, the kingdom. The following day, the first thing you do is look around for Crowe. However, when you try asking some students for his whereabouts, nobody seems to know where he went. You tried sending him a message to his phone, but you never receive a single reply, much less having your messages be put on read. You eventually met up with Brittany. She seems to be one of the few people closest to Crowe, so it's best to talk to him about it with her. Jericho? No, I haven't seen him. Do you know anyone else that might have had an idea where he is? Brittany pondered for a bit with a manicured finger on her chin, before shaking her head no. Already asked the rest of the guys. Heck, even Gio doesn't know where he is and the guy's close to the hip with him. But he said he's coming to school today. Don't tell me he ditched last minute. Oh crap, he would always send me or anyone in the group a text whenever something came up. Knowing that guy, he must probably send you a text first. You deflated. Brittany gives you a worried look, trying to think of something else that could possibly help you. Maybe you should try checking the council's office. Taking her advice, you thank her and proceed to leave the classroom that she was in. You did as Brittany suggested, but much to your dismay and frustration, not a single one in the council knows where Crowe is. Classes eventually started, but you didn't attend. Too determined to know where Crowe would have possibly been, you rack your brains as you walk over the school grounds. You're probably too angry to realize you made it all the way to the gardens, the place where you usually were. You scratch your head in frustration, and taking out your phone, you decide to give his number a ring. It was still dead silent. Why? What's wrong? What happened? You decide to walk even deeper into the gardens, until eventually, you met with a familiar chain fence, indicating the school campus borders barricading you from the forest just beyond it. I have a bad feeling about this. You rang Crowe's number one last time. Ring ring. It rang a few more times before cutting off. You checked your phone, thinking that he somehow finally picked up, but was met with a disappointing notification that it was out of service. You try one last time. There's a faint ringing in the distance. I don't like this, but it's not within the gardens. It's coming from outside. Did he get himself lost? But how? As far as I know, this place is all boarded up. Putting your phone in your pockets, you look up and stare at the metal edges of the fence, shielding your eyes from the sunlight hitting your face. You bit your lip. You could climb up, but if you fall, you probably have a sprain if you're not careful enough. Without wasting any more time, you start climbing the chain fence, your fingers shaking from anxiety at the imposing height upon reaching the edge. Going over to the other side, you slowly make your way down, still keeping a tight hold on the fence. Whoa! That is until you somehow manage to slip on your footing, causing you to fall down, back first. A groan escapes your lips, your back now aching from the sudden impact of the fall, making you lie there and wait for the pain to subside a little. You pat down your pockets, reaching for your phone inside. You feel your heart drop to your stomach as you behold it. Oh, damn it! My phone! I'm such a moron! You curse, seeing the visible crack on the screen of your mobile device. Turning it on, you vomit another string of colourful curses as your phone screen glitches heavily before eventually turning dark. I have a really bad feeling about this. This crap is useless now. Shoving your broken phone back into your pocket, you slowly got up to your feet. You looked around. If Crowe was somewhere here, then you better start looking around. Hopefully you can try to remember your way back to the campus grounds. Your heartbeat accelerates as you walk deeper into the forest. You'd never been here. It was uncharted territory, so you didn't know what dangers lurked. You scanned the area around you, the thicket, seemingly getting thicker and harder to maneuver. You see nothing out of the ordinary save for some overgrown bushes and vines crawling on the dirt. If these don't get tended to, someone will surely trip. You're about to give up your search when you notice in the corner of your eye the familiar shade of Crowe's indigo vest, torn to pieces. I don't like this. I feel like we did something wrong by getting into a relationship with him. I feel like we shouldn't have done that. You feel your heart drop. The air suddenly feels suffocating. Your legs wobble their way to the torn piece, hoping that it was some sort of hallucination or some kind of sick coincidence. But no, this is exactly Crowe's vest, all torn and broken. You search around the area one last time, eyes keener than before, hoping that this might have been some kind of prank someone pulled on you, till your eyes land on the strange and broken down shed. I have a terrible feeling about this. Clenching the torn fabric close to your chest, you hastily make your way to the shed. Thoughts of Crowe invades your mind as you ignore all the warnings waving to your face. The moment you came face to face with the shed, your nose picked up on something bad. The smell of iron, the smell of blood. You rattle the wooden door open. It won't budge. Crap! Open up! You look around for something to pry the door open. An axe! Coincidentally, a lone axe was sticking out of a tree stump. Gathering your strength, you pried it off its hinges, nearly knocking yourself down with it. Dragging the heavy axe to the front door, you swing it open, breaking the wooden door piece by piece until a hole forms into it. The smell is now stronger than it ever was before, making you scrunch up your nose. With one last blow, the door falls, the shattered piece of wood now hanging by its hinges as you enter the room. You feel your soul leave your body. Please no. The strength from your legs disappears as you drop down to your knees, the pool of blood staining your skin. The iron-smelling liquid's thick texture makes you feel pure disgust as a shiver runs down your spine. No! Oh my god! Wait, even his hair's been, like, chopped. No, please. This couldn't be happening. You wanna rip your heart out of your chest. You wanna burn this whole forest to ash. Before you lay Crowe's corpse. His head is barely attached to his shoulders, and you can clearly see the gaping injury left by something sharp on his neck. The blood drips from the deep cut, the red liquid pooling around his lifeless body. His eyes were left open, and you gaze at them, wishing, praying, hoping that his vibrant azure orbs would smile at you again. But no, his eyes remain dull, soulless. You mutter his name over and over, asking him to get up, to talk to you, to tell you what happened. But he doesn't. You hear footsteps behind you, accompanied by the clanking of metal, before something drops on the ground. You swiftly turn around, meeting the eyes of someone you never expected to be here. Oh my god. Soul! I mean, I knew it was Soul, but holy crap! A pair of fiery red orbs grew wide like saucers as their owner beholds your slumped, blood-stained figure. His gaze reveals a mix of surprise, dread, and panic. Yandere, no, you shouldn't be here. You need to leave. His pleas fell on deaf ears. Instead, you stare at the bloody hand axe that he dropped, his equally bloody hands on the dark shirt wet with red liquid. He reeks of blood. He killed him. He killed Crowe. You killed him, didn't you, Soul? Soul bit his tongue, refusing to answer your question as he stays put. You can see the way his jaw clenches, his expression now filled with rage. He was gonna take you away from me. I've only done something I wish I should have done years ago. You're not even gonna deny it. I would never lie to you, Yandere. But why? Why did you do this? Because I love you, Yandere. I'm not letting that bastard take you away from me. You're mine, and mine alone. You were taken aback by his declaration of love. It left a disgusting taste in your mouth. How dare he taint the word love? How dare he throw it around like it's an object? You monster! What? You lunge at him, aiming for his neck, pushing him down to the dirt. He claws at your hand, not expecting your son's strength as you unbuckle his choker, pulling on the strap and using it to choke him. You mean nothing to me. I don't even know you. I mean, that's not true. In another timeline, you mean everything to me, but you did kind of kill my boyfriend in this one. You loved me. I loved him. He was everything to me. He was my savior, my first love, my everything. What do you know about me? You must pay for what you've done. Sol couldn't muster a single word as you get pulling on the strap around his neck. Your vision fills with red as your desire to take revenge overwhelms you. The strength in his hands weakens as Sol loses air, and soon you feel something sharp, something painful. You look down, expecting to see your successful revenge through your classmate's soulless face. The light remains in his eyes. Instead, it's filled with horror. You cough. Blood seeps through your lips. You look further down and see a sharp blade through your chest. The object swiftly disappears after someone pulls it out of your body. Hugo? Blood slowly gushes out of your wound, and you feel someone push you down. A pair of hands move your body. You couldn't care less as you stare at the dusty ceiling of the worn-out shed, your vision slowly darkening. From the corner of your eyes, you can make out the blurry figure of the man you've come to befriend the day before. A few droplets of something wet splattering on your cheeks. He's crying. You stay. No, please. Another figure enters your fading vision, and Sol takes notice of them. You recognize the blade in their grasp as they wipe it clean of your blood. Your killer. Sol gets into an argument with the guy, his muffled screams reprimanding them. You can barely hear the person's responses as they calmly speak with Sol. Keeping your eyes open is getting tiring. Breathing is getting tiring. With one last breath, you flutter, your eyes closed. And the last thing you hear are these exact words. No witnesses. Hugo! Hey, I liked you! Bad end. No witnesses. I didn't expect for a bad end to be added to this. Oh my god. Wait, that means that we basically can't enter a relationship with Crowe because that will just trigger the bad ending. Oh, what the hell? Jesus. Oh my god, that was done so well though. Because I was wondering, I was like, how is it gonna work with us in a relationship with Crowe? Isn't that gonna set off Sol? But yeah, I'm shocked. Okay, well, we are gonna go back and try some of the other options. Because I do want to fill out the CG album as well. Because yeah, we're missing a couple from Sol. Yeah, and a couple more here, but I think this is in day 2. Oh my god. Oh, my poor baby. Alright, well, let's go back. I'll go with them today. Brittany hummed the sound of content before turning her heel and heading towards the classroom's exit. Her 3 other friends following behind her. Crowe looks back at you by the door, waiting for you. Catching up, you raise your hand to meet his azure orbs once more. I'm so glad you're still alive in this path and you're not dead. Your heartbeat quickens with your ribcage in response. You two, stop oogling each other and hurry up. Brittany's exclamation made the both of you jump. You merely looked down, using your hair as a curtain to hide your reddened face. Crowe just rubbed the back of his neck. You two eventually followed behind Brittany and the rest of the group towards the cafeteria. The cafeteria is loud and crowded. The tables are filled with students while the rest are lined up by the counter grabbing their lunches. A grin escapes Brittany's lips as she looks around for any sign of a vacant table you could all share. What a freaking great time to not bring lunch, huh? Next time, I'm preparing my lunch the night before. I wonder why it's so crowded today. New lunch menu, perhaps? Seems like it. We'll be left with nothing else if we keep standing around here and loitering. Hey, Gio, Daryl. Oh yes? What is it, your royal majesty? Daryl cooed with a teasing tone, and Brittany rolls her eyes at his silly gesture. Could you two look for a vacant spot while the rest of us line up? Saves us time that way. Yeah, sure, Britt. Let's go, Gio. Wrapping your arm around Gio's shoulders while ignoring his obvious irritation from the said male, the two walked away in hopes of looking for an unoccupied table. Brittany then turns to you. Oh, right, Yinny. I'm not sure if you packed anything like those two did, but if you want to line up with us or go help them find a table, make a choice. You decide that I'll buy my lunch. I'll buy. Alright then. Daryl, Gio, go find us some seats while we line up. Daryl waved Brittany away, mouthing, I got it, before turning around with Gio, the jock's arm wrapped around his grumpy friend's shoulder, dismissing the visible annoyance on Gio's face. Come on, Jess. Let's get in line. Yes, of course. You may go first, Britt. With haste, Jess trails behind Brittany. Let's get in line as well before more people start lining up. We don't want to end up with the bad stuff, do we, Yinny? You can say that again. You shuddered at the thought, remembering the leftovers from the school cafeteria. With a nod, you and Crowe made it in line with the rest of the student body. While you're lining up, Crowe turns his attention back to you. I'm glad you decided to come with us, Yinny. I know it may seem selfish of me to drag you along, but there are new friends now. I hope you don't mind. Say nothing. You said nothing but bit your lower lip. Your silence causes Crowe to furrow his brow, but he didn't utter a single word. Once everyone got their food, Brittany turned her heel and walked towards where Daryl and Gio were seated. Move your ass aside, Daryl. I'm sitting there. A loud gasp escapes Brittany's lip, her mouth open in wide shock. The food on her tray is now splattered across her white uniform. Brittany! Oopsies. Sorry about that. You should have watched where you're going there. Oh, they have sprites now. Now I know who I'm beating up. Multiple footsteps came near. A trio of girls showing themselves before you. It's like the Powerpuff Girls but mean. The tallest of the bunch, the redhead one, placed a hand where her heart is and let out a mocking gasp at the mess. Brittany's eyes met with the redhead bully. Judging from the way Brittany's face twisted with rage, they seemed to know each other. Are you alright? We should go get you cleaned up. You freaking bitch! This is my only clean uniform. How dare you? Oh, look at Miss Claire all flared up. Careful there, sweetie. You'll get wrinkles. It's not like you're not ugly already. The mean girl coos at Brittany, her two friends behind her laughing along with her antics. You got a bad feeling about this. The entire cafeteria breaks in a few murmurs and whispers, their attention now fixated on the group of girls. Someone stopped eating while some took out their phones ready to film whatever happens next. Crowe tried to come in between the group to stop the fight, but he wasn't fast enough. Splat. The next thing we knew, another loud gasp was heard. A wide smile etched itself on Brittany's face. The mean girl's white uniform now smeared with varieties of wet sauces and oils matching Brittany's own dirty uniform. Jess's face filled with shock. The food from her tray is now gone. Take that, shit stain. You freaking bitch! Food fight! I've never been in a food fight. I feel bad wasting food. The moment Daryl howled those words, the cafeteria went into a hectic frenzy. Food and drinks started flying across each area as each student started tossing whatever they could get their hands on. Are those trays? Yay! Everyone stop this madness at once! A sudden wave of pain made its way to your head. And the last thing you saw was Crowe calling out your name before passing out. Oopsies! Where am I? Oh, you're awake, thank goodness. Crowe? You tried to sit up, but a sudden shot of pain went through your head and stopped you. You reach out to touch where the ache was coming from, but Crowe stopped you by holding onto your wrist. Careful now, the nurse already bandaged your head, don't push yourself. Crowe gently pushed you back down onto the medical bed. He takes a lone stool and takes a seat right next to you. What happened? Well, after Daryl started that mess of a food fight, the principal was called in to stop it. Daryl got lucky enough to escape when he did. Gia was nowhere to be seen. As for Brittany, what about her? Well, Jess helped her out to grab a new uniform from the principal's office. Then why does my head hurt so much? Someone threw a tray and you were unfortunate enough to get hit by it. Thankfully I got you out of there before things got ugly. Thanks, Crowe. I owe you one. I'm always there for you, Yinny. Never forget that. Anyway, it's around 1:45 in the afternoon now. I should probably head out to my next class. You should stay here until the nurse gets back. You'll be alright alone here, right? You wanted to say no, but stopped yourself before you could. As much as I want to, I really don't want you to die again. Yeah, you can go ahead. You sure? Yeah, I'll be fine, Crowe. You've done enough for me today. You gave him a small smile, but he did not return it. Crowe squeezes your hand, quite hesitant to let you go. Eventually, he loosened his grip, and he stands up from his chair and walks towards the exit. But before he could leave, he turns around and gives you one last smile, eventually closing the door and going out of the infirmary. You groaned and laid back down on the bed, feeling the bandage on your head. At least the pain is slowly dying a bit. I hope it didn't leave a mark on my head at least. You're guessing you came face to face with the edges of one of the metallic trays. Since when did trays hurt so much? Then again, there were athletes in the area, Daryl being one of them. Just then you heard the door opening, a nurse's voice echoing through the room as the clicking of her heels got louder as she drew closer. The school nurse entered and following her was a tall student dressed in black. He seems to be holding onto his left hand, and you see the red streak of blood overflowing. That looks bad. You sure had it worse than me. I wonder what happened. You should be thankful you didn't cut a vein. How were they able to get past with that pocket knife in the first place? The nurse sighed. It seems like she got her hands full with another student. The latter, however, didn't say anything as he let out a small hiss when the nurse dabbed some disinfectant on his wound. He sat up slowly, careful not to hit your head on anything else before stealing a glance at the student and the nurse. Your eyes met with reddish-orange ones. Your heart raced as you felt your heartbeat quicken. What an unusual color. They remind me of the setting sun. The nurse finishes up wrapping around his wound, a blotch of red slowly seeping out and staining the once white bandage. However, his gaze is still fixated on you. The nurse follows his line of sight, and finally takes notice of your conscious figure. Ah, you're finally awake, Miss Winters. She approaches you with a bottle of painkiller she took from one of the transparent cabinets on the wall, before handing a pill to you. How are you feeling, dear? Does your head still hurt? It's slightly dissipating, ma'am, thank you. She hands you the pill and you take it down your throat. You're free to stay here a while longer, Miss Winters, but you need to return to your class as soon as you're feeling better. You gave the nurse a nod. She, in return, hums in approval before going back to the taller male in black. As for you, Mr. Brugnancia, if your bandage gets dirty throughout the day, don't hesitate to come back here and I'll reapply it with a new roll. The taller male hummed. He turns on his heels and makes his way towards the exit before pausing. I return to my class now. Thanks for patching me up, nurse. The tall student gives you one last look with his fiery red eyes before making his exit with a click of the door. The nurse lets out a sigh, rubbing her temples, feeling a headache surfacing. I swear, that child comes here every other day. Him? Oh, you're not classmates with Mr. Brugmansia? Odd. I thought he might know you from the way he was looking at you. No, I haven't seen him around. More like he never bothered to look at who's around you, since no one would even bother to spare a glance at you. Well, either way, don't get into too much trouble like him, alright? That raises a question in your head. Just how bad were the guy's injuries that he comes to the nurse's office almost every other day? And kind of explains why she's been sighing hard ever since she brought tall mail into her office. With an injury as bad as a near stab wound on the palm, you can only take a wild guess. And as much as you're curious to know what transpired, you're nearly late for your next class. Eyeing the clock on top of the doorframe, you got out of the medical bed. You thank the nurse and make your way out of her office. Alright, so this is where we are back in class. I feel like that, yeah, a lot of this would be the same as the previous dialogue. Alright, so you get Sol as a partner here, but the dialogue's slightly different. It's that guy from the clinic. I never knew he was in the same class as me. Is he not going to bother with his partner? Unless... Hey there! He looks up from his desk and looks at your approaching form, while you're eventually standing next to him. It's you. Seems like you're a bit lost there. Do you have a partner? No. Well, just your luck then. Me neither. So, do you want to be partners? Sure, why not? You took the vacant seat right beside him. His book now tucked away, and on the desk is now a pen and a piece of paper, seemingly ready to take notes. Hey, I never got to know your name. It's not quite important. Well, I should at least know what to call you instead of Green Street Guy. He raised an eyebrow at your silly nickname you gave him before silently shaking his head. Sullivan Brugmansia, but just call me Sol. Sol? Your name contradicts your whole glam, not gonna lie. Not that you didn't dress well. I mean, you look good. A pinch of red makes its way to his face. Sol bit his lower lip as he readjusts his collar. I should just shut up. He averts his gaze, biting his inner cheek. Thanks. You look good too. I should introduce myself before this gets any more awkward. Well, I'm Yandere Winters. Nice to finally know your name, Sol. Sol nods with a smile forming on his lips, and then turning his attention back to the professor. 3 artworks to the showcase. You got any plans for our first display, Sol? Expressionism is about conveying one's feelings, right? The easiest is a portrait. Let's use your face as an example. My face? He lets out a low chuckle. There, you're making a cute expression right now. That can be considered as expressionism. Oh, but I have this bandage on my face. Wouldn't that hinder the process? You recall the events that happened back at the cafeteria. I can simply ignore it, or make something better out of it. Trust the process. He seems like he already has an idea on what to do, and judging from that half-filled sketchbook of his, he's quite familiar with the concept of art. Me, however, I'm pretty great at art. Oh, that surprised me. Sorry I can't draw you back because of this damn injury. No, don't worry about it. You're excused and I don't want to stress your hand over this. You take out your sketchbook and your pencil and work with his portrait with determination. You would often look up to see his features, taking note of every curve. A blush occasionally invades his cheeks as he tries his best not to look away while you work. While you're sketching it up, you can't help but avert your eyes on his bandaged hand from time to time. Seems you're quite curious to know what happened to this, huh? And you weren't slick with it either. You froze when he caught you red-handed, just like the red seeping out of his hand. You stopped drawing. Sorry, that was rude of me. It's fine. This is just the usual for me. I've gotten worse injuries than this. You raise your brow at that. Not the worst? If you don't mind me asking, what happened? He paused and averts his eyes, but opens up to speak. Nothing much. Was minding my own business, got assaulted. Had to defend myself. He talked as if it's another normal Monday for him. Your eyes furrowed, and he just noticed and chuckled. No need to worry about me. All that matters is that I'm still here. You didn't say anything, however. Continuing on with his drawing, your movement's slow, and you're now refusing to look at his injured hand. The skull is way more screwed up than I thought it would be. Alright, so you finish drawing, and then you exchange numbers here, and then you become friends with him. Alright, and then this is where Crowe asks you to go and meet him. But to avoid the death ending, instead of taking his hand, we're gonna first take his arm. And then over here, sadly, instead of kissing him, we are just gonna hug him. And then after you hug him, he takes you back home. You text the group chat, and then you have a nice night alone. And meanwhile, Sol fandangles his wimwam, except I can't show you this. We're gonna have to skip over it. And this gets us to day 2 without the death ending, which is good. But day 2 is gonna be covered in the next video. For now, we are gonna go back and try and get the rest of the CGs. Alright, this time we are gonna go somewhere else. You glance at the blonde-haired woman as she waits for your answer. You turn to Crowe. He too was anticipating an answer from you as a nervous drop of sweat rolled down his temple. You gotta be honest, Crowe was right. All of this is still quite overwhelming to you. Throughout your years here, you've only gotten used to Crowe's presence and his alone. But then yesterday he introduced you to his new group of friends you didn't know he had. You're happy for him, you really are. But why does it feel like a lie whenever you tell yourself that? And why does your heart swell and your stomach churn from the thought of him not being by your side all the time? The horrible feeling of green envy and raging jealousy consumes you ever since the thought came into your mind. A sudden lump made its way to your throat, hindering you from forming words as you feel your eyes threatening to water while your shoulders start trembling. You need to get out of here. I need to go. Yinny? You ignore him and the group as you push him away, earning a shocked look on both Brittany and Crowe's face. Yinny, wait, damn, I didn't think Brittany would make someone cry being so bad at communication. Oh, for heck's sake, Daryl, shut up. I didn't mean it, okay? Oh, I'm right, aren't I? I'm going after her. Huh? Ichabod! Crowe didn't listen to his friends calling out his name, especially Gio as he ran after Yinny, rushing out of the room hoping to catch up to her. He shone through the sea of students, receiving some irritated looks after pushing them aside. Their looks don't matter to you though, however, as you try and get out of the crowd as quickly as possible. Yinny, wait! Crowe's booming voice behind you isn't helping your rising anxiety, and your tears now slowly cascading down your cheeks. Yinny! Please wait, what's wrong? Stop! Crowe cries out with each breath that he takes and you keep on ignoring him. You turn a corner, hoping to lose Crowe in the crowd. The worried tone in his voice just makes the ache in your chest more and more painful. You did not care how many floors you ascended as you ran from one floor to another, nearly tripping on the school's bad architecture. Before you knew it, you made it to the school's rooftop, pressing an ear to the door. You didn't hear Crowe's call anymore and you let out the breath you've been holding. And then, everything slowly crashed down on you. You fell down to your knees and hugged them, not bothering with how dirty the floor was. Slowly, you look up as a few droplets of rain slowly drop down from the sky, a reflection of the salty tears now staining your cheeks. I'm so pathetic. Crowe is his own person. I feel so selfish to even think I'm his only friend like he is to me. Of course he can have other friends besides me, but why does it hurt? Is it because I'm just some nobody? All of them look so cool. Especially that Brittany girl. She's tall and pretty. Heck, I might even mistake her for a model if it weren't for her uniform. She seems like Crowe's type. The familiar ugly feeling made its way to your chest. You tightly clench your fist to where your aching heart is. You want to rip it out in the open and toss it from the edge of this building. Will he leave me if he deems me unworthy? Was I ever worthy to be beside him? You can't think anymore. You don't want to think anymore. The tears now flooding your eyes as your sniffles turn to sobs and you bury your face into your knees and cry your heart out. The rain now heavy as if resonating with your sorrows. You have no idea how long you've been crying, but you run out of tears to shed and been staring at a blank space for a while now. Maybe it's time to head back. You look up at the dark skies. The rain slightly calmer, but still not stopping with its downpour. Standing up and dusting your back, you're about to grab the handle when you heard another voice from the other side. Your heartbeat quickened. You swore you were alone when you got here, and you were blocking the door the entire time so someone coming in would be near impossible. You're curious how this individual managed to get past you. Or maybe they were just here before you. Who knows? Who is it? Forgetting your initial plan, you slowly approach the voice, making sure not to make too much noise as possible. Sol, is that you? Are you joking your peanuts? It's Hugo! Just as you suspected, there is someone. A young man in a green vest. Must be his uniform. Hair in the shade of light blue, how they remind you of the skies before it darkened, tied into a low ponytail by a white ribbon. He seems to be in a deep conversation with whoever it was behind the phone that he held to his ear. You can't quite hear the conversation he was having, much less understand what he's talking about. You assume he's speaking in a whole different language. You step back. You're guessing the student is a foreigner, and seeing that he seemed to pose no threat, you're about to leave when you felt a hand grab your shoulder. You stood frozen on your spot as you felt a huff of breath fan your neck. Something cold and sharp touched the side of your throat, and you're no fool to understand quickly that it was a small knife he's threatening you with. Wait, what? Who are you? Speak, unless you want to get yourself into big trouble. Not talking, huh? You have the right to remain silent, but in this case, I need you to talk. You feel the sharp edge of the knife cut through your skin. The stinging sensation made your head spin as you slowly started breathing fast. In your state of panic, you tried to jab his abdomen with your elbow, hoping to catch him off guard to escape, only to have him grab the same elbow and twist it behind your back, earning a loud squeal from you. I'm Yinny Winters from Class 4B. Please don't kill me. You yelp. The hand on your shoulder went loose as you feel him withdraw the knife, taking it as a chance to push yourself off of him and turning around to face the blue-haired knife-wielding student. You had the urge to throw a punch to his face. Instead, you didn't. Rather, what you came face to face with is a look of confusion across his face and a hand under his chin. He isn't even looking at you. How rude. Yinny Winters. Why does the name sound familiar? Class 4B as well. Now's your chance. While he's distracted by his own thoughts, you pathetically throw a punch at him. However, he merely catches your fist with a single palm, his other hand never leaving his chin, as he keeps pondering over his thoughts. Why did you even bother? You're never the strongest in your family. I remember now. You saw a light bulb lit on the top of his head. He lets go of your fist and pockets his tiny knife, which turned out to be just a foldable pocket knife, and gives you a bright smile as if he didn't just threaten your life a mere seconds ago. What impeccable timing you have at the moment, Yandere. He puts his hands together like a prayer and bows down, double taking his sudden shift in attitude. I'm in need of your help. You see, I can't attend my next class due to some familial emergency, and I promised my partner I'll be there. But seeing that you're in class 4B, can you take over for me? What? Who is this guy I think he is? Your next class is Art Appreciation with Mr. Allen, correct? And how does he know your next class is Art Appreciation with Mr. Allen? Oh, hold on. First of all, who the hell are you? Second, why do you have a pocket knife? And third, why would I agree to your terms when you just threatened my life? As if realizing the situation, he lets out a gasp, his mouth shaping an O. He fixes his posture, then gives you a wink and a thumbs up. Name's Higo Sugimoto. I'm from class 4A, but I often have classes mixed with Mr. Allen to catch up on my missing subjects from my past years. The guy is a clear troublemaker. He just rubs the back of his head and chuckles as he continues with your next question. Taking out the pocket knife, he dangles it like some toy and presents it to you like it's the most exquisite thing you've ever laid your eyes on. You roll your eyes. This? He waves the pocket knife left and right. It's for self-defense. The guards are quite shitty at their jobs at inspecting each bag. Things as little as these are easy to slip by. Plus, it's quite useful if you're ever in a pickle. We're in school grounds. Just use scissors like any other normal human being. He puts his tool back in his pocket. And as for your last question, his expression relaxed. His goofy persona thrown out the window as quick as it came. His tone now a bit serious with his gaze fixated on you. Dear friend. Okay, that kind of offended you a little bit. Yes, I do. Yeah, but don't you ever feel like you think you're not doing much for them? That made you shut your thoughts up? I'm not gonna lie, he's really not the best guy out there. He blabbers on with the thought of whoever his friend is, but judging from the way he talks, he seems to care for him, admire him even. But people tend to misunderstand him quite a lot. Heck, even I did. I thought I couldn't trust this guy with anything, like how you don't trust Crowe with anything before. Sorry for threatening you with a knife, Yandere. What I'm saying is that, oftentimes, I can never be there for him. I've given up on the thought of staying by his side. But you, however, there was a gleam in his eyes you couldn't seem to decipher. Maybe you'll understand him. Get to the point. Please be his partner for your art class. And he's down on his knees like a begging clown. The serious tone he had before is now replaced with a blabbermouth crybaby before you. Seriously, he had you fooled there for a hot second. Alright. I'll be your friend's art class partner. Get up. You mean it? Thank you, Yandere. I knew you were the right person. Just, who is this friend of yours anyway? His name is Sol. Don't worry, you won't miss him. Without sparing you another second trying to ask for more information, he gives you a friendly pat on the shoulder before leaning in and whispering, "Wipe your tears away, Yandere. Crying doesn't suit people like you." And with that, he's going down the stairs. You only stare at the now open door, your feet rooted on the cold tiled floor from pure shock. How does he know I was crying? I love how they wrote Hugo to be a lot weirder. You're now walking down the hallway. A few students were heading to their own respective classes while some went to where the library was. Yandere, one heart attack after the other, you swore this day refuses to give you a break. You weren't ready to face Crowe yet. He's probably worried sick, especially with what you pulled minutes ago. You're probably lost in your thoughts for too long. You suddenly felt arms wrap around you, Crowe's face buried in the crook of your neck as he held you tight. His shoulders were shaking. There was no one else behind him, it was just you and him. I looked around the campus for you, where have you been? You bit your lip, not giving him a chance to hear your voice. Crowe pulls away from your neck but still keeps his hold on you. You refused to look him straight in the eyes and he didn't push you for it, already satisfied with you in his arms. A sigh escaped his lips. With one hand, he cups your cheek and rubs it with his thumb as he observes your red and swollen eyes. He bit his lower lip, a flash of regret made apparent in his eyes. Just then, behind the both of you, you hear a lone student call on Crowe's name. You swore that Crowe's eyebrow arched and twitched as if irritated. There you are, Ichabod. Your presence is required by the council. I don't freaking care. What was that, Ichabod? Couldn't quite hear you. I'll be right there. Crowe says, his back still facing the student. The student merely raised a brow, but didn't insist any further and walked away in the opposite direction. Crowe lets out a tired sigh as he turns his full attention to you. Give me a text once you're ready to talk. Pulling away, albeit hesitantly. He rummages with something in his pockets before taking out one of your hands and placing something in it. Without turning your head, you look down and saw a handkerchief in your palm. I'll see you later, Yandere. Aww. He turns on his heel and moves to the same direction where the student before was headed. Once he was gone from your sight, you squeezed his handkerchief and used it to wipe your cheeks despite the salty tears that had dried at this point. Pocketing the blue handkerchief, you slowly made your way to the next class. And it's pretty much the same until day 2. Like, there's a little bit of dialogue, but I think it's the same as the last version of day 1. Alright, so with the albums, we are just missing one here. And I don't think Crowe has any more CGs until day 2. Alright. Let's get the last couple of CGs. So we're gonna find somewhere else to sit, which will trigger the fight scene. Heading to the fiction section of the library, you examine each book's spine, running your fingers along them, hoping that one would attract your attention. However, not a single one caught your eye among the many books you passed by. Instead, you've only gathered dust on your fingertips. You clicked your tongue and rubbed your fingers together, dusting them off. Thud. A sudden thud came from the opposite side of the shelf before you, causing it to wobble a bit, nearly knocking down a few books. Another thump, but this one louder and stronger than the last. A few books toppled over, and one nearly hits your head. Hey, watch it! You raise your voice. Silence. Then you hear a few shuffling noises beyond the shelf in front of you. You let out an irritated puff, taking the few books that fell to the ground. You proceed to pace them back to their original positions on the shelf, but as you're filling up the gaps, something or rather someone caught your attention through a small crack between the books. You spotted a male student with their hair dyed in red spiked up, donned with a leather jacket and ripped jeans, his facial piercings enhancing his intimidating look. Behind him stood another guy, dressed in near similar fashion. The only difference is that his hair is black as the night with blue highlights, a white tank top instead of a leather jacket, and a dog tag dangling from his neck. Two unfamiliar students sneer down on someone who you assume that they are pushed to the ground. So that's where the thudding sounds came from. Don't make too much noise there, Mr. Creep McGee. You don't want to get us in trouble, do you? Great, another bullying situation. You roll your eyes in annoyance. These bullies never know when to stop, do they? Sometimes people never seem to grow out of their high school phase. The poor fellow remains sitting up on the ground, his back leaning against the bookshelf, trying desperately to hold his ground. He mutters something under his breath. What was that? Couldn't quite hear ya. The red-haired bully mocked, his hair brushed behind his ear as he leans closer to the man on the ground while his raven-haired companion laughs at his friend's antics. I said, hiss off, you little. You cringe at the sound of flesh hitting flesh, causing you to pull back. You got some real nerve coming here and showing your face, punk. No matter, you're nothing but fresh meat. Ugh, he looks disgusting. But he's liking this. Why wouldn't he? After all, you asked for this, didn't you? Sick freak. This is getting bad. I should leave or else I'll be next. You gritted your teeth, eyes squinted. You didn't want to look at this anymore. But before you could shove a book to cover up the remaining gap, something glistening caught your eye. Your blood ran cold at the weapon now within the fiery redhead's hand. Yo, how'd you get that in the campus? Shut up, who cares? It was a pocket knife. Let's see if you'll continue being a smartass once I cut your mouth. I'm gonna do something, or should I risk being caught in between all of that? Stop them! I have to stop them! Leaving the remaining books, you quickly rushed out from your aisle and went across to where the bullies were. Stop! You let out a loud cry. From the cry of your voice, the bullies halted their movement, their heads slowly turning towards you. Your attention, however, was on the fallen male on the ground. His face battered and bruised as he struggled to keep his composure. He looks up at you and your eyes meet with reddish-orange ones. As soon as he registered who you were, his expression turned from mild irritation to shock. He shuffles on the ground in a hurry as he tries to get up, but the raven-haired bully must have noticed this and kicked his stomach, causing him to double over and clench his abdomen. What do you want, pipsqueak? Can't you see we're busy here? The tall red-haired bully clicks his tongue. You can see his veins bulging from his forehead in irritation from your interruption. Standing up, he walks to where you are, pocket knife still in his hand. Stop what you're doing right now! Oh yeah? What are you gonna do about it? If you hurt him, I'll scream and alert everyone in the library. The redhead just lets out a mocking laugh, unfazed by your threat. He looms over you, his attention now focused on you, leaving the other male on the ground. Stop! Don't go anywhere near her. You're here for me, right? Just leave her alone. Shut up! The raven-haired landed one more kick on the student in the green stomach. Taking advantage of his weak state, the bully clad in blue steps on the boy on the ground's back. Stop it! Whoa, hold it right there, sweetheart. We're not done here yet. The bully in red before you wraps his arms around your lower back, then proceeds to bring his face closer to your own. With his free hand, he forcefully grabs your chin and jerks your head towards his. You hiss from the force he inflicts on your jaw. Let me go, you bastard! You move your hand away, his hot breath fanning your cheek as you try your best to pull away from him. The redhead scans your face, growing a sinister smirk on his lips. Not gonna lie, you look kinda pretty. No wonder this freak has the hots for you. He turns around to give a quick glance at the person on the ground. He just chuckles at the dark glare that was given to him. I bet your little boyfriend wouldn't mind a taste. Before you could register what he just said, you felt a stinging sensation across your cheek, following something wet rolling down your cheek. The sensation of the bully's tongue running across your cheek made you shiver in pure disgust, and you can feel tears slowly forming in the corners of your eyes. The redhead, however, doesn't share your sentiments. His eyes roll back in pure ecstasy, a low moan escaping his mouth, making you want to throw up. Taking advantage of his blissful state, and with all your might, you kick him between the legs. Freaking bitch! You push him away from you with all your might, and give him one last kick on his back, causing him to fall and land on one of the bookshelves. Multiple books falling on him. A thick encyclopedia lands on his head, causing him to pass out. Take that, arsehole! However, your little victory was short-lived, as you felt an arm make its way around your throat, proceeding to block your windpipe. You're a naughty one, aren't ya? Why don't I teach you a lesson? Let go of me! You claw at the blue bully's arm around you, trying desperately for him to release you as you slowly lose air in your lungs. Your vision was slowly beginning to darken. I can't breathe. Someone help! The arm around your throat loosens. Your dizzy state causes you to lose your balance. You steady your breathing while rubbing your throat, trying to ease the pain it just went through. The two bullies' bodies are now on the ground, all passed out, and all that's left are a pair of black shoes before you. Looking up, it was the same guy in green. The bruise on his face is still visible. He didn't say anything while holding out his hand. Accepting it, you let out a small thank you as he pulled you back up to your feet. Now that everything seemed to settle down, you finally got to look at him closely. He's actually pretty tall, probably around 6 feet. His hair a deep green, nearing black with green streaks pulled in a half. His red eyes dart around the area. Then back to you, then back on a random corner. An awkward minute passes. We should probably get you to the nurse's office. I'm fine. There's no need. Meanwhile, you should get your cheek bandaged. He lifted his hand, seemingly trying to cup your cheek, but stopped himself midway, quickly tucking it behind his back and walking past you in a hurry. Your eyes trail after him as he quickly made it to what seemed to be your usual spot. After fixing his things, he set off towards the exit, not bothering to glance back one last time. Alright, and then you basically meet him here. And then, because he has a bandage on his cheek, you can tell him that you're not that good at art, and you get this little CG instead. Alright, and the last CG is when he has no injuries and you tell him you're pretty bad at art, and then we get this one that we've seen before already. Alright, so after we get that one CG, the rest of this is honestly kind of just the same. Yeah, so we come back to here. And then we arrive safely at day 2, and there's not Crowe's death ending. And I think that's everything for day 1, plus a little bit of day 2, because I did cover the death ending. Yeah, so that was the updated version of day 1 for the kid at the back. I hope you guys liked it as much as I did. I love the rewrite, honestly. A lot of the scenes feel so much more polished, there's a lot more branching paths added, and I love the addition of the death ending. I feel like this was a lot darker as well, and I especially loved how Crowe as a love interest has been a lot more fleshed out, because before I think we only had a little bit in day 2 and a couple hints in day 1, but now it seems like it's very cohesive, and I really appreciated the little romance tidbits with him and the fact that he just seems to like you a lot more as well. But yeah, thank you so much for experiencing the story with me again. I love the kid at the back, and I super appreciate you guys being here. This is one of the first videos I ever posted before I even started using Facecam, so it feels so nice to just go back to it again. I will record the rest of day 2 in a separate video and upload that as well. That one's got a bunch of new CGs and scenes as well, so I'm very, very keen to show you guys that one too. But yeah, thank you so much again. Let me know in the comments below, would you choose Sol or Crowe? And until next time, take care.